My name is Olivia, and I was 19 years old the night the world changed. That night, the police called. The words accident and gone and I'm so sorry blurred into a haze I could barely comprehend. When I hung up the phone, the apartment felt too quiet, too heavy, too hollow to be real. My little sister Alina, just 6 at the time, looked up at me with wide eyes that didn't yet understand. Her hair was still damp from her bath, her pajamas covered in tiny yellow stars. She clutched the stuffed bear our mother had given her and whispered, "Where's Mom? Where's Dad?" I swallowed the truth like broken glass. They're not coming home," I said, my voice shaking. "But I promise, Alina. I'll keep you safe. Always. No matter what." That night, she fell asleep curled against me, her small breasts warm against my shoulder. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, the weight of my promise pressing down like a stone. 8 years later, that promise was still the pulse that kept me moving. I was 27 now, working at a small pharmacy near Seattle's downtown market. The pay wasn't much, but it kept us afloat, rent, food, and Alina's school fees. Our apartment was tiny, but it was ours, filled with second-hand furniture, thrift store curtains, and the laughter of a teenager who was slowly becoming her own person. Life wasn't easy, but it was steady. Or so I thought. The pharmacy smelled faintly of antiseptic and dust. A little bell chimed each time the door opened, letting in the salty air from the harbor and the chatter of the street vendors outside. I had worked there for nearly 2 years. My boss, Mr. Karim, was a man in his 50s with sharp features and a calm voice that never warmed. He was polite to customers but cold with his staff. Still, I told myself it was just a job. I stocked shelves, rang up cough syrup, and counted pills. Customers came and went, each carrying their own worries, a mother with a sick child, an old man with aching joints, a college student with a stress headache. I liked helping them, even in small ways. It made me feel useful. But one rainy evening, everything shifted. "Stay late tonight," Mr. Karim said as he closed the register. "We have a delivery to check." I needed the overtime, so I agreed. The delivery arrived after dark. The back room smelled of damp cardboard and chemicals. Boxes were stacked high, some with labels peeling, others with no markings at all. "Put them on the shelves," Karim ordered. I glanced at the dates on one box. "Expired. Months ago." My stomach tightened. Selling expired medicine was not just wrong, it was illegal. But his eyes bored into mine, calm yet unyielding. I said nothing. I shelved the boxes, my hands cold and trembling. That night, I told myself it was just one mistake. One shipment. Maybe it wouldn't happen again. But it did. A week later, Mrs. Parker shuffled in. She was one of our regulars, a sweet woman with silver hair who often brought me lemon drops in her coat pocket. She was coughing so hard that she could barely speak. "Do you have cough syrup, dear?" she asked, her voice breaking. I reached for a bottle from the shelf. It looked fine on the outside, sealed, labeled. I handed it to her, and she smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Olivia," she whispered, and stepped out into the rain. 2 days later, her daughter stormed in, her eyes red from crying and fury. She slammed the same bottle on the counter. "This made her worse," she shouted. "This isn't real medicine. What are you people selling here?" I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Before I could speak, Mr. Karim emerged from the back, his expression smooth. He apologized, replaced the bottle, and assured her it had been a mistake. When she finally left, his eyes turned to me. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. I understood. I was not to talk. That night, I couldn't sleep. Rain lashed against the windows as Alina worked on her homework in the next room. I kept seeing Mrs. Parker's coughing frame, her daughter's tearful anger. I couldn't let it go. The next morning, I bought a small notebook. In it, I began writing down every suspicious box, every expired date, every unlabeled bottle. When no one was watching, I snapped photos with my phone. At home, I hid everything inside an old flour tin behind a bag of sugar in the cupboard. Fear became my shadow. I noticed cars lingering too long outside our building. I flinched at footsteps behind me. I warned Alina never to open the door for strangers. She asked why. Just trust me, I told her. The less you know, the safer you are. One night, another late delivery came. Two men in heavy coats carried boxes to the back. Their shoes left wet prints on the floor. No paperwork tonight, one muttered. I raised my phone to take a photo. The click was soft, but one man turned suddenly, his eyes locking onto mine. I lowered the phone, pretending to sweep the floor, my palms slick with sweat. Days later, a black car appeared outside our apartment building. It sat there for hours, engine off, windows tinted dark. No one got out. Late one night, someone knocked at our door. Slow, deliberate knocks. A man's voice claimed to be our neighbor, saying there was a water leak downstairs. But our downstairs neighbor was an elderly woman with a gentle voice. This was not her. I didn't open the door. I stood frozen, holding my breath until the footsteps faded. The next morning, at work, Mr. Karim casually asked about Alina. She's fine, I said quickly, my stomach turning to ice. His smile lingered too long. That night, a message appeared on my phone. Stay quiet. Think carefully, I knew I couldn't face this alone. I thought of Sarah, an old school friend who now worked as a nurse at a city hospital. She had always been honest, the kind of person who spoke the truth even when it was hard. We met in the hospital cafe. The smell of coffee mixed with the steady patter of rain on the windows. I told her everything, the deliveries, the fake medicines, the black car. I spoke quickly, afraid that if I stopped, I might lose my courage. She listened, her face serious. Olivia, this is dangerous, she said softly. You can't keep this to yourself. Not for you, not for Alina. She told me about Michael, a patient advocate at the hospital who helped report unsafe medical practices. She suggested we speak to him before going to the police, to understand our options. I agreed. We made a plan, I would copy my notes and photos. Sarah would keep one set in her hospital locker, and I would keep the other hidden at home. That way, if anything happened to me, the truth would survive. The theft of Olivia's envelope, the chilling message to think of your sister, and the night of barricading the door will be drawn out with vivid internal struggle, making readers feel her claustrophobic fear. The meeting with Michael is expanded, his background, his calm but firm demeanor, the way he explains the careful process of building a case. His insistence on more evidence makes Olivia's burden heavier, but also makes the story more believable. The delivery sheet, the photos, the close encounter with the gray-coated man inside the pharmacy, all slowed down and described in cinematic detail. The scene where a car creeps up beside Olivia, the man's voice warning her, "Think of your sister," becomes a knife-turning moment of fear. The pharmacy inspection and Mr. Karim's arrest are stretched into a tense, step-by-step sequence, inspectors moving through shelves, Karim's cold stare, Olivia's racing pulse as evidence is uncovered. When the handcuffs click, Olivia feels both triumph and terror. A man like Karim doesn't forgive betrayal.